You heard Senator Johnson. He's against it. He doesn't like the process. Is he he doesn't like two things about it. He thinks it's weighs too heavily on the side of big corporations versus small businesses, and he doesn't like the process. Does he have a fair point on the process?
Well, this is what I would say to my friend Ron and any of my fellow senators. You know, follow your heart, but take your brain with you. This is a solid bill. It helps businesses. For example, right now, a C Corp at maximum marginal tax rate pays about 50% in taxes because of double taxation. This bill would reduce those taxes to 40%. If you're a pass-through, this would reduce your taxes from 39 to 32. On the personal side, according to the Joint Legislative Committee, if you make between $20,000 and $30,000 a year, you'll get roughly a 10% tax cut. $50,000 to $70,000, 7% tax cut. $1 million or more, 5%. Now, I believe that people can spend the money they earn, all things being equal, better than government can. And I think the problem with we tried everything, Chuck, with this economy, everything to get it moving. We tried monetary policy, lowering interest rates. We tried stimulus spending. We've done quantitative easing out the wazoo. We tried everything but reforming the tax code. I think it'll work. I think this will add half a point, maybe a point to gross domestic product. I think you'll see foreign direct investment go up by 50%. I think it'll work. I know others disagree with me.
Let me ask you about two criticisms that this bill's going to get politically. Number one, corporations get a permanent tax cut. Individuals only get a 10-year one. It's a tough thing to defend on the campaign trail.
I don't like that. I'm still looking for a way to make it all permanent. The problem, of course, is how to pay for it. In the last 8 years, the deficit, the national debt's gone up $8 or $9 trillion. I'd love to be able to cut $6 trillion or $7 trillion worth of taxes and not have to worry about the debt. But we do. And what we're trying to do is strike a balance between cutting taxes so we can move the economy again, while at the same time being mindful of the fact that we owe $20 trillion and we've got to pay it back.
You're saying you're being mindful of it, but this bill, by the numbers, increases the debt by at least $1.5 trillion over 10 years. Now, I understand there's the economic...
That's static scoring.
I understand that.
That's static scoring.
But the dynamic scoring that you're expecting, we've never seen something like that. You really believe we're going to make up $2 trillion in revenue for a $1.5 trillion down payment?
I don't think there's any reputable economist out there who can look you in the eye with a straight face and say that tax cuts don't have an impact on economic growth. Even the Democrats believe in the Laffer curve. Now, they may disagree with the Republicans about the optimal point on the Laffer curve.
Right.
But the Democratic position, this is America. You can believe what you want. But their position
yes,
is that tax cuts have absolutely zero impact on economic growth. And that's nonsense. Look, the more you tax something, the less you get of it.
No, I understand that. I mean, do you believe, let me ask it this way. Senator, let me ask it this way. Okay.
Okay.
No, I'm going to ask it this way.
Ahead.
Do you believe this tax bill will lower the deficit in the 10-year period? In static scoring, it's going to increase it $1.5 trillion. You believe it will, and at the end of 10 years, our debt will be lower, not higher?
I do. If we can achieve an average of 2.4% growth, we'll run a surplus. And I remind you, Chuck, that before 2008, average GDP in America was 3.1%. So 2.4, 2.5%, we're not talking about a home run here. We're talking about a single.
All right. Last question. Healthcare politically has been very difficult for you guys to deal with. Why add it to the tax bill when you can see politically the public doesn't want you guys messing with health care like this right now?
Well, you're talking about the mandate. And the mandate in context of tax reform is not health care. It's tax. All we're doing is repealing the fines. In my state, for example, 135,000 people pay the fine rather than buy the insurance. Out of that 135,000 people, 80% make less than $50,000. 50% make less than $25,000. I don't think we ought to punish people for not buying health insurance that they can't afford. And that's all this bill will do, is saying, look, we're not going to fine you anymore if you can't afford the health insurance.
You do know the impact could be raising premiums on everybody else.
I don't concede that. Number one, that assumes that we don't do anything about health care in the first or second quarter of 2018. Now, I know we failed twice. We're going to try a third time. We're going to try a third time and then maybe a fourth and a fifth. And that also assumes that Lamar Alexander's bill doesn't pass. I'm not telling you that I'm for Lamar's bill. I'm still looking at it.
Right.
But you're assuming that, no, well, I don't think you're making this allegation, but some have said, oh, you don't care about people losing their health insurance. Of course we do. Of course we do. And we need to be given an opportunity to address that, and we will in 2018. Look, if it were up to me, Chuck, I know we got to go. I wouldn't go home for Thanksgiving. I think we ought to vote next week, even if we have to vote Thanksgiving Day, and move on.
Well, I'll be in town. Happy to cover that. I promise. I'd like to get my turkey in, but I'd cover half of that. Anyway, I promise you. Senator Kennedy, thanks for coming on, sir, and sharing your views.
You bet, man.